Last week, I put out a clip of Ace Steel finally breaking his silence about what really happened, or at least what he was legally able to tell at the Brawl Out situation, where he jumped in to help CM Punk, to come to CM Punk's defense in the big backstage brawl with the Elite. And that's basically all we know, and that's basically all he could tell. But he did add one little gem to say that Stephen P. New, pro wrestling's favorite lawyer, Stephen P. New, you can't mention his name without thinking of the song. Great marketing. Stephen P. New actually represented Ace Steel, according to Ace Steel himself. Check out this brief clip.
You don't fuck with family. You just don't. And we came out just fine. And I have a great lawyer, Stephen P. New.
Oh, really?
He's the man. Let's just put that in the world.
Wow.
Stephen P. New is he's a gem. He is for the wrestlers. He's for the boys. He's on the right side of the world. So I will give him all the praise in the world while I'm sitting here smiling.
And now that your memory is refreshed, what I did in that episode, because Ace Steel had mentioned, he can't really talk much about it, but Stephen P. New and Jim Cornette had basically said exactly what happened. So go listen to them. And I went out and I searched out a year-old clip of Stephen P. New talking about the Brawl Out situation. Well, if I had only waited just a week, Stephen P. New jumped on the podcast scene and did the House of Kayfabe podcast, which I think is his podcast, his wrestling podcast, along with some other guy. And he confirmed exactly what Ace Steel said. He confirmed the rumors were true, and that not only did he represent Ace Steel in the Brawl Out litigation, but he also represented CM Punk himself. Check out this clip.
And now, finally, after over a year, we can talk about Stephen P. New being the lawyer, one of the attorneys for CM Punk and Ace Steel, and your relationship with them started how many days after the Brawl Out?
About 2 months. CM Punk got my phone number, texted me, and was just able from that point forward, and Punk had a legal team already, Ace Steel not so much. And, we talked about different things, and just want to tell you, I'm greatly limited what I can say, just like Ace was on another podcast recently. But I think Ace said it best, though. My job in the months that followed Brawl Out, up through the returns and everything like that, was to just look out for their best interest. And I'll always do that. I really can't say a whole lot else. I really wish for the people that watch this show, I'm not going to breach any privileges to my clients, first and foremost. I take that very seriously. And number two, they're subject, I'm subject to NDAs and confidentiality agreements, things like that. So none of the particulars I can get into. What I would like to say, though, Steve, is that from all of that, those two are two of the most stand-up, greatest guys that I've ever known, particularly around the pro wrestling industry, which can get a little carny at times. Both those guys are straight shooters. Both those guys are honest to a fault. And, both those guys are loyal, fiercely loyal to one another and the people within their camp. And it became readily apparent that we were going to be good friends, that, I could provide an outsider's perspective on what they had to deal with and some legal expertise as someone who's had this connection to the pro wrestling business, both as a fan. I understand the stuff. I know who the personalities are, and from representing some other folks, I had some information that hadn't been previously known, let's say.
So not a lot of information coming out from this, not a lot of new information, but at least we can put to bed the rumor that I can't talk about it because of litigation that Tony Khan always likes to drop is in fact true. There is indeed non-disclosure agreements across the board or gag orders across the board where nobody can talk about the incident. CM Punk can't, Ace Steel can't. Stephen P. New apparently cannot talk about it. But he is able to admit that he litigated the case and that he did represent both Ace and Punk and talk about a little bit how he got involved in this. And as a wrestling fan, he did mention this in the interview as well. This is a dream case to pick up as a wrestling fan. Imagine you're just a big old fucking mark as a lawyer. And you get the case of the wrestling century lands in your fucking lap. Of course, you're going to jump on that. And look, Stephen P. New apparently came out on top because Punk got his release or got fired or whatever the case may be. It was a non-conditional release. He was gone. He didn't have to pay anything back. He didn't have to. There was no drama. So just a clean break. And Ace Steel's out there, and he says he's doing fine as well. He's an agent for TNA now. Fun little interview with Stephen P. New. I thought this was funny because just last week, like I said, we covered this, and I had to dig and find a Stephen P. New clip where he addressed the subject. So it was fun that he was able to talk about it here this week. I believe Cornette mentioned it as well, kind of confirmed. So definitely, I guess if you need representation in the wrestling business, Stephen P. New is your guy. I would not expect to hear much more about the Brawl Out situation with the non-disclosure agreements in place. I don't think the NDAs, I don't think that anybody's going to be able to give any more detail than has already gotten out. But as I covered on last week's episode, we were able to pretty much put together what happened. The only thing that's really in question is how the Young Bucks entered the room. Did they kick in the door hostily? Why are you talking shit, bro? Or were they like, hey, Mr. Phil, could we speak with you just a minute? And Phil just started punching people. Who knows? That much is, that one is up for your interpretation. Up in how you want to decide how things went. But everything else is pretty much exactly how it went. Larry the dog escaped with his life. Barely. Just barely. Poor puppo. That's it. That's all I got for this one. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Did you listen to the Stephen P. New interview? Would you call Stephen P. New to represent you in your litigation? I guarantee if I was ever at a wrestling show and like John Moxley bled on me or something, I'm calling Stephen P. New. I'm getting a payday out of that shit. I ain't fucking around. But that's all I got for you on this one. Short one, but a fun one. I'm going to go ahead. Doesn't Stephen P. New kind of look like Alex Jones a little bit? Doesn't he remind you of Alex Jones? Just waiting for him to tell me that the frogs are gay.
Oh yeah, thanks for checking out the video. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like it if you liked it. Yeah, and you can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on the channel. Oh yeah, dig it.